Our next lecture is by Madam Dr. Lakshmi Vas on stimulating and non-stimulating catheters. Madam is a pain consultant. Madam has her own clinic, Ashirwad Pain Relief Clinic at Dadar. Madam is also an honorary physician and with various hospitals across Mumbai. Madam was the head of department at Bijaywadia Children's Hospital, Mumbai. She was also the consultant at KK Women's and Children's Hospital at Singapore. Madam also has a unique distinction of being the pain physician to His Excellency the Governor of Maharashtra. Madam.
Thank you for that introduction. And now I'm going to talk about plexus catheters and stimulating versus non-stimulating catheters. I would like to know how many people are familiar or they use stimulating catheters. Okay, only the faculty. There are some, I can see some hand there, I don't know whose it is. Okay, so that's about 4 people in this hall. So I'm glad I've included some of the slides showing what the catheters look like. So non-stimulating catheters will have no stimulation with the needle or the catheter, or any epidural or plexus catheter without the facility of stimulation, any ordinary catheter. Or you can have the combination of a stimulating needle where you locate the needle with, nerve with a nerve stimulation, but the catheter is placed blindly. So Contiplex from Braun is one such example. The problem is the catheter may start near the nerve, but may go anywhere it pleases. Though, anatomically we know that nerves are supposed to lie in definite compartments and intermuscular compartments, etc. When you see catheters, if you do radiography, you see they really do go wherever they wish, not where we wish them to go. So nerve stimulation, local anesthetic is injected via the needle. Sorry, what am I saying here? Okay, which is positioned close to the plexus or nerve using neurostimulation. This is followed by a blind insertion of the catheter, same thing. Then there were several studies which said, where do all these catheters go? 60 to 70% of the lower limb catheters are not positioned close to the nerve, though the nerve has been located with a stimulator. Then that led to the development of stimulating catheters. So usually what used to happen with these migrating catheters, the migration is not later, but when we are putting it in. What they found was initially the nerve would be located, local anesthetic would be given, and then the catheter passed. So the initial primary block would work, but later analgesia would not be adequate. So this led to the development of stimulating catheters, first described by Boisart in 1999. And then the advantages quoted for stimulating catheters were improved onset of motor nerve block, no added advantages with postoperative pain. Local anesthetic and analgesic requirements are also similar. So improved functional outcome of the shoulder with interscalene block. So this is Stevens et al. Then someone else, Casati et al. Said 25% reduction of local anesthetic requirement. Then secondary catheter failure has been reported, as I mentioned, that primary you inject through the needle, secondary catheter placement may fail. So then there were other studies which said that blind catheter advancement is as reliable as a stimulating catheter. So there is considerable amount of confusion in all this, and also it depends on which nerve they are looking at. Then I think I'll come to the next slide there. The problem sometimes with a stimulating catheter is that, as I said, the catheter wishes to go in one way and you want it to go in another way. So it's a tug of war between you and the catheter. So many times it has to be redirected several times. In one study, they have said 20 times. So that means a lot of time taken. Pham Dang et al. Said that it is for the upper limb blocks, it makes sense. For the lower limb blocks, it's okay. So the inability to stimulate clinically effective catheters by Famdang mainly is a result of using saline for catheter placement. You see, as you fail, you have to find reasons of why you fail. So somebody says you inject saline, so there is no stimulation. Then someone else will say when you put it in, when you put a needle, the nerve moves away. When you put the catheter, it goes elsewhere because the nerve has moved away. There are several theories about why catheters go as they do. So the problems with stimulating catheter, placement of stimulating catheter is that it's not easy. And take it from me, I do it for chronic pain regularly, and it is not easy. On a lucky day, I finish within half an hour. On a bad day, I may sit there for 1.5 hours. So then there is also the question of what stimulating value do we accept? With a needle, everybody knows, you have heard enough now, that 0.4, 0.5, etc. is correct. And you don't go for 0.2, whatever. However, for catheters, what value do you use? Up to 1 have been accepted. How reliable? Because excellent stimulation, though the catheter had no block, and then no stimulation but excellent block. So there are a lot of controversies here, controversial findings, and with different nerves. So it's absolutely confusing about why to use, why not to use. So now let me introduce you to the catheters which are available. In India, only 2 catheters are available, Arrow catheter and Payunk stimulating catheter. Contistim is supposed to be available, but I am not aware of it. Vigon also is supposed to be available, but Braun has apparently withdrawn it for some problems. So this is what an Arrow catheter looks like. 17 gauge insulated needle with a 19 gauge reinforced catheter with the stillet. Then this is the tip. The catheter ends and the tip, metal tip, protrudes beyond that. And this is called a this is the connector. This is what the tip of the needle looks like. There is a central rod around which this wire is wound, and that wire continues as a reinforcement of the catheter. This is what is called as a Statlock anchor device. It is really wonderful. I like it very much. And this is the catheter in situ, and you can stimulate the needle like this. And then later, I think I'll show you a video where the catheter is stimulated separately. So this is, again, the connections, etc. Now, I hope this plays. Okay. This is after the insertion of a catheter, there is stimulation is being done through the connector. There is a metal tip here you can see, and you can see the stimulation there. Obviously, it's little weak. The other stimulator available is Stimulong Plus by Payunk. This is got a thinner needle, and it is a wire which comes through the catheter with a rounded tip. Both have only a single opening. You can see here that the wire inside is so fine that I can barely show it in the closest close-up that I have taken. There is a thin wire here. You will have to believe me that it is indeed there. It's called the Mandarin wire. So Portex Contistim, these are the characteristics